Well, we appreciate you guys joining us on Tuesday at 7. It feels like spring has sprung here in Northeast Ohio. It is 2025 and it is kind of mid-March. And we're here with a double feature. We're going to be talking with Tessa and Cara. We'll be talking to them together, but we're going to visit their creative spaces separately. And we appreciate you guys joining us too. We have Craig behind the camera, and he is going to monitor the questions and the comments. And we appreciate you guys joining us. If you were with us 2 weeks ago, we were out in Chagrin Falls at the Glass Asylum, and we met with Chris Tremaldi. And that Glass hot shop out there is absolutely phenomenal. And we had the chance to just see that space, hear about his journey to opening up now what is 2 studios. But we encourage you guys to go back and check that out. But if you've never been to a Tuesday at 7 show, it's all we're doing is we're gathering, we're hearing stories, showing artwork, building a network. But the cool part about Tuesday at 7 is you get a chance to win some artwork. And you get a chance to win some artwork today as well. But in order to be entered into the drawing, there's an arrow at the very bottom left-hand side of your screen. When you press that arrow, we know it. And when you press that arrow, Facebook will guide you as to how to share that video. Most folks share it to their friends list. But if you also share it to a group, because there's like the Artists of 216, and there's a bunch of art groups. But if you share it twice to your friends list and to a group, then we'll put your name in twice. So we encourage you guys to share away. And we'll come back and we'll share with folks the artwork that'll be available for the drawing. Tessa.
Yeah.
So we are here in down in the Asian Town Center. Asian Town Center, and a couple of weeks ago, we had the shoe show at Negative Space. We're going to be checking out Tessa's creative space. We're going to go next door to the Chrysalis, and then we're going to end up at Negative Space. We're going to be moving around. But Tessa, I recognize your work, and your work, is on the walls and this. So tell us just a little bit about this space here.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So this is my art studio. I literally called it Tessa's Art Studio. And I actually used to have artwork down the hall at Gotti's at Negative Space. Yeah. I moved in here about a month ago. I needed some more wall space. I'm really thankful to be over here and thankful to Gotti, too, for showing me the space. I also get to share the space with Yuval, which is Gotti's son, which is in the next room. And I'm really thrilled to be here. And by the way, congrats on the shoe show. That was a really incredible exhibit.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, it was a great collaboration. I was threw a couple things together, but the magic was the collaboration. And it feels as though this is kind of a giant collaboration too, right? You started off in Negative Space, now you expanded to a larger area because you needed more wall space.
Yeah.
And that's, I think that's the power of a community. More wall space.
Yeah, for sure.
So like Negative Space, you probably had a defined space, and you're like, I've got more paintings. I've got more work that I want to display, right?
Yeah, I'm really thankful for the space in here. I'm able to work on bigger canvases. Just for example, like I'm working on a commission right now, this abstract, and it feels good to have more room but still be in the building with all the amazing artists that are here, and to be able to collaborate with everyone as well. Cara and I have collaborated on a few paintings at some of the events at Negative Space. So
will we get a peek at that at some point?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah.
Is this so? This is a large canvas. Is this one of the largest that you've painted on, or now that you've got the space, you're like, no, I paint on large canvases?
So I'm primarily a mural artist. So I work on really big walls. I've painted murals for local businesses, different kinds of shops. I've painted anything from bars to daycares to restaurants. So yeah, it gets really eclectic when it comes to the mural painting. Yeah.
I remember, and that reminds me because when we were at the shoe show, Neil Zaza had donated a piece to be used in one of the collaborations. And you're like, I did a wall mural on Geneva on the
Yes,
Lake,
yes.
and did you paint him in or touch that back up? Like, how did that?
So that's actually a perfect start because the first mural I ever painted was at Geneva on the Lake. It's a place called the Cove nightclub. The owner wanted a mural that represented all the notable musicians that played there, and he was naming everyone that's played at the Cove, and he mentioned Neil Zaza played there. So it was really cool to be able to paint all these different musicians. And then it was awesome to find out that you guys are friends as well. And you had his shoes incorporated into the shoe show. So that was such a cool, it's a small world. Yeah.
It certainly is. I love large canvases, and for those who might recognize Tessa and Cara, because you guys show quite a bit. But if you don't recognize these artists by their face, you probably aren't going to recognize their work because their work has, certainly has their signature feel. But show us a little bit. Show us a little bit here as point Craig and our folks describe a little bit. I mean, some of the work, some of the meaning, some of the inspiration here. Maybe just kind of point so he knows, so Craig and our audience knows which one you're talking about.
Sure. So right now, most of these paintings in my studio are paintings from my grief series.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of paintings that I did a couple years ago. I did an art series based on grief, and it kind of blossomed out of just the feelings I was having at the time. I was internalizing the passing of my dad. I felt the only way I could kind of transcend those emotions was to paint it out, I guess. And it was kind of a cathartic way to be able to kind of express myself at the moment because I was going through a really difficult time. I have actually, yeah, most of these paintings in here are from my grief series. I do have a couple newer things, but just to show you what I do have from that series. This one with the crows, it's probably one of my favorites. It's called The Harbinger, and it's just kind of about like something bad is coming, and you can't control it. So it kind of embodies that theme of just going through the motions and kind of functioning in the dysfunction when you're going through the grieving process and you have a loved one that's, passing away. So yeah. So it was a tough kind of emotional time period for me.
I know that. I mean, maybe this is an inquiry, and that is, I think that creative people process differently. Sometimes, maybe some folks that are not painters or maybe that, aren't creative, they may process the loss or grief a different way.
Right.
And sometimes artists are like, I process it by painting it out.
Yeah.
And sometimes it even transcends words. It's images, right? And it's feelings that passes, that we process with a paintbrush.
Absolutely. I actually had someone ask me why I used myself, because a lot of the figures in the paintings, they resemble me. I mean, this one definitely does. But I was telling them I felt like the only way I was able to paint this series was if I had to use myself as the reference because it was, I was the one going through it. Usually I paint a lot of models, like I'll use like my friends as references. Like for example, these ones over here. This is the series I did last year. These watercolors, the three smaller ones, and then this big one right here. I like to use friends as references, and I think it just kind of you know, like I feel like everyone has like a different aura, so it's kind of inspiring to see what kind of painting will come out of that and what kind of ideas spark from, painting different people and friends. So yeah, so that's my watercolor series I did.
So so the ones behind here with this is the grief series,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Is this acrylic?
Yeah, these are acrylics.
These are acrylic,
yeah.
and these are water.
These are watercolors.
Watercolor.
Yeah. This the three smaller ones, and then this big one of the koi fish. Yeah.
Yeah. How long have you been painting?
I've been painting probably since high school. I've been drawing since I was a kid, though. I've always done art.
Did your parents were they the parents that said, "Well, we know she's going to be creative"?
Oh, yeah.
Did they encourage you on your art journey? And maybe that's an unfair question.
No, they did.
They did. So they were supportive of that from the very beginning. They're just like, whatever whatever you're meant to be. We're going to encourage you to be that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, my mom's super creative. She doesn't do art all the time, but she's definitely like a quick-witted, really creative, smart person. My dad was very creative. He was a musician. I never got that musical side. I was never musically inclined, so I think it was just intrinsic for me to be able to paint, and it came naturally when I was practicing drawing and painting growing up.
Drawing, start off with drawing, you moved to painting,
Mm-hmm.
you did wall murals, large canvas. Do you do other mediums? Do you do some sculpture or do some...
So, so this is
Cara pointed us right in that direction because
this is the first sculpture. I'm actually really proud of this. I'm really glad I got this done in time for this this show. So this is a sculpture I did because I signed up for a class. Actually, Cara and I are both friends with Hector Castellanos, and he is just an amazing artist in Cleveland. And he teaches a class at the Beck Art Center, and he teaches a sculpture making class, and it's called the Alabrias. So this is actually an Alabrias sculpture, and what they are, they're really like they're like magical creatures. Like they're not like just normal like animals, but they're kind of like really whimsical animals. So he had all of us in the class each make a different Alabrias. So I was really excited about that. And when I first started this is like the first sculpture I've ever made. So I'm actually really proud of it.
It's really good, and I love the kangaroo and
the
baby.
Little kangaroo,
and
the baby comes out
from the pouch.
Yeah. So
What's the medium?
This is clay, paper mache, wire, tape. It took a lot of layers. We started out with the wire, so it's like a wire skeleton inside of it, and then we layered it on with tape and clay, paper mache, and then we were able to prime and paint the final art piece. So yeah, so I don't know. I didn't even know what to expect because I've never made a sculpture. I mean, I haven't made a sculpture since high school, so I think this is my yeah, so I had to cut off his toes though, because when I'm sorry to be morbid, but I had to cut off his toes because when I made the little kangaroo pouch, it wouldn't fit in there. So I'm sorry, he doesn't have much of
you had to trim down his feet.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be morbid. Sorry. Okay, there it is.
Before we kind of move on, check out kind of this other space and kind of transition over the. I love the fact that you're sculpting. I think that's kind of proof that if you've got that creative, I mean, you can transcend mediums. Because I can translate, what I have in painting to drawing to sculpture. But tell me the challenge or the challenge / success to like how you get from the real, transparent. Putting out your emotions, right? Your processing, like in your grief series, to a commission piece, right? Because a commission piece, and I know that most folks here will say, well, we know what that means, but somebody hires you and says, we love your style, we love your work. Could you create a piece and we'll kind of talk through and create a commission piece? So this is completely different than a commission piece.
Right.
Guide us through there.
So, when you're making your own original art, I think it's a matter of thinking like, okay, how far do I open the book? How far or how much are people going to see my vulnerability? And that's a scary feeling sometimes. But I learned that, it's not about anyone else. It's about painting for you when it comes to your own original art. And that's definitely a shift in gears when you're painting commission work for other people, because you want, and I really do enjoy painting other people's requests on, what they want in their home. And for example, this was an abstract. I don't do too many abstracts, but I really enjoyed it. And yeah, like you said, it's definitely a shift in gears, because with this, I'm more vulnerable. With this, they gave me a direction where to go with what kind of abstract they want.
Yeah.
So yeah.
In terms of, I think that what you made, I mean, that would be like the golden nugget to pull out of here. And every time we sit down and talk with artists, there's all kinds of golden nuggets that pop up, but that you do the art for yourself. This is, your own personal work. I don't know if the folks in the audience, give us a thumbs up or a comment if you do, but I I'm almost done with the Rick Rubin book, the Creative Act.
I love that book.
And he said the audience comes last. Like, don't create. I mean, I suppose if it's commission work, it's a whole different swim lane. But if you're an artist, we have to create from within. We have to kind of pull those emotions. Allow our artwork to speak. What we're going through, and the audience comes last. And then, and I think I'm going to ask Cara this question here too, and that is, I think there's always that interesting maybe debate. Do people choose the artwork, or does the artwork choose the people? What would you say?
It's a tough one for my first question.
That is a really tough question.
The deep end of the pool.
People choose the artwork. It goes both ways, I think. Yeah, I think a lot of people like things, but they can't put into words what they like or why they like it. And I think, the right people find your work. If you put it out there.
I find that personally, and it's fun to watch people kind of step into your gallery space. And they'll walk in, and there's some sort of drawn to a piece. They'll be like, oh, I'm kind of skimming. And then all of a sudden, they just kind of rest in front of a space. And they might not be able to even articulate, why that speaks to them. But certainly, I know that there's a bunch of folks out here, and they're going to say, your artwork speaks to me. What are some of the places that they can check out your work? I mean, if they could come down here to Asian Town Center, see your space. But I would imagine that you have an online presence too?
Yeah, I have an Instagram. I actually, hold on, let me go grab it real quick.
Yeah.
I actually have another cool thing I wrote down.
And what's great is she's got the hot mic, so we can hear her in the other room.
Here's my Instagram.
Oh, yeah, perfect.
And I actually wrote something in my grief. I did like a little booklet of all the series I did. But I literally took a Rick Rubin quote and mentioned it, because it was just, I kind of mentioned quotes that were inspiring me at the time, but it was create an environment where you're free to express what you're afraid to express. And I thought that was really powerful, and that kind of compelled me to keep moving with the grief series. Yeah. I thought that was a really powerful point he made in that book, The Creative Act. Here's my Instagram.
There you go. Perfect. And if somebody, the first person or the second person who puts this into the comments, we'll throw your name into the art drawing, because we want people to be able to just, grab it and then, connected and see your Instagram profile as well.
Awesome.
Guide us out of here because this is a great space. So this is kind of a gallery area. I see online you got a lot of cool T-shirts out there too.
Yeah. So I feel like this year I've been kind of diving into some new stuff with the sculpture. This year I started printing. I haven't printed in years, but I made these T-shirts for Valentine's Day. Love is cheesy.
Love is cheesy.
Love is cheesy. Yeah.
I saw somebody wearing one of those shirts.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been kind of getting into printing again. When I went to school for graphic design, and I had a few jobs where I was able to do some printing. So I always kept that in my back pocket, that skill. So, and then in here is like my work room. I work in there sometimes, but this is a work in progress. I literally just started it yesterday. And then these are paintings I've done in the past. So yeah. And then
are you, when you said you went to school, I'm assuming that was your major art?
I did 2 years with graphic design.
Oh, graphic design, that's right.
But I mean I like graphic design. I just I felt like painting like visual art was just like my main thing.
Yeah.
So I decided to go that route instead.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, you're a gifted painter, and your style is vibrant and jumps off of a wall, right?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
We appreciate you joining us here. And if you're down here in the general area and you see like Negative Space, I mean, you're helping in the socials there. Like you're well networked in the community too.
Yeah, Cara and I both, we definitely help share, I mean, I feel like we're a whole family here, with Negative Space and Chrysalis and now this studio. Oh yeah, we have. I actually wanted to show this.
This is a perfect transition.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Is this a collaboration?
Yeah, so this is a collaboration Cara and I did. We were painting an event for the Eminent Origins band, and they come here once a month, every first Saturday of the month, right? And they put on a performance, and we were able to paint this commission together, and it was kind of inspired by just from the music they were playing and everyone dancing. So this is something fun and vibrant we did from that event.
Second one.
Oh yeah, this is the second one.
This is the second one. Oh, so you collaborated on another painting?
Yeah, the first one we did sold, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
So this is the second.
From the event.
Yeah.
Did paint go on this canvas during the event?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so you were painting while everything was
People could come up and look over our shoulders and ask us questions.
Yeah, we literally live painted it. It probably took like 4 hours, I'd say. Yeah.
And we sit next to each other, and then we do a little, and then we switch places, and then we kind of balance it out that way. Take turn, like kind of. So we get our styles mixed.
Yeah, you can certainly. Now we haven't had a chance to really see Cara's work yet.
Yeah.
But there's got to be some trust. Is that the right word? Trust involved when you collaborate to say, okay,
For sure.
You get to put paint on top of a canvas that I've already started.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's fun to be on the same wavelength as another artist, and I think our styles definitely go together.
Yeah, I agree. So for those that are joining us today, again, this is Tuesday 7. We're just a Facebook group, an Ohio community, and we celebrate the artists. We talk about networking, inspirations. We like to shine lights on the artists that were together. And today is one of those double features. And we've had a chance to talk with Tessa. We're going to talk with Cara. And we're all just coming together, but we encourage you guys to join us, throw in questions live. And if you're watching the recorded session, you guys can still ask questions because we're all connected to it. and we can respond as well. But the magic of our community is the share button. Because when you share, a larger audience gets to see the work of the artists that we're highlighting. But we're asking you not only to share, but we're giving you an incentive to share. That is, when you share, the very bottom left-hand side of your screen, there's an arrow button. When you hit that arrow button, Facebook will prompt you as to what to do next. You can certainly share to specific individuals. You can share to, I know Susan needs to see this. You can share it to Susan. But we encourage you to share to your friends group and to perhaps to a Facebook group as well. But when you share, we know it. And then next week, everybody who shared, we're going to put your name in the drawing. And if your name is drawn, you get some artwork. Let's talk about what that artwork looks like. And then we're going to kind of, ease over to Tessa, or past Tessa's space into Cara's space. So,
Cara.
Oh, also we should talk about the trees.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's talk about this and then talk about the artwork. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so I have a bigger flyer.
Yeah.
We're curating a show next month. It's for Earth Day. Basically, it's a show, a group show of artists we're going to have here at Negative Space in the building on the second floor here. And it's about repurposing materials, making art, that involves trees, plants, anything Earth Day related. And it's kind of like an eco-friendly show. So that's what we're going to do here next month, April 26th.
We'll make sure to continue to tag in the Tuesday at 7 group. And we encourage you guys to join the Tuesday at 7 group as well. But again, if you share, you're going to be putting a drawing. And next week, when we draw the winner, you'll have the opportunity to win artwork from both artists. So both of them are going to be packaged together. And the winner will have this artwork. And yeah, your artwork is complementary to each other.
It is, yeah. Look at the brown.
I know, yeah. I think, yeah, it's really inspiring being here in this building with so many artists. I feel like all the artists really inspired by each other, and we play off of each other's ideas, but at the same time, everyone has their own distinct style.
Yeah. It's almost like a heartbeat, heartbeats start to align, and the save the trees, the nature, the inspiration, the vibrant colors. I can understand, how the creative space can create that cross pollination. I don't know if that's the right word, but that's what I'm throwing out there.
For sure, so. I think so.
All right, well let's move on. I'm going to hand this to you, Cara. Yeah, and if you're all right, Tess, I'm going to grab that microphone from you.
Sure. Here.
Go ahead and just pull it off. There. And we're going to continue to move. And again, we encourage you guys to participate live. If you have any questions, Craig can answer those. But we're going to kind of slide on out. But Tessa, take us out of here because.
So this is the door.
So this is Gotti's son's
so this
space.
is Yuval's space, and it's called Dream Vision Studio. And he does some very abstract pattern work, and he incorporates a lot of pop culture in his art as well.
Well, one knows the apple doesn't fall far from the tree because he certainly has, a lot of great inspiration, with being Gotti's. Yeah, oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's a collaboration between.
Oh, Gotti. This one over here. Hey,
Gotti.
Craig, click this one in the corner right there. That's a son and father collaboration. You can absolutely see both styles there. And the painting on clothing?
Yeah, Yuval was actually just in New York Fashion Week.
Really?
Yeah, he's really incredible. He's amazing.
I could see why somebody would want to be in this space. Now, is there any available space down here? I'm not talking necessarily in this space, but down in this general area. If you're an artist and you're like, I need to create a space, is there some space down here?
Chris over at Chrysalis.
Yes.
Over at Chrysalis? All right, well, let's go and talk us through that as we're walking, Cara.
Okay.
So, Chrysalis, tell us about Chrysalis.
Okay. Chrysalis is a group studio space. We opened it in May of last year. Myself and my good friend Steph Clausen of 180 Reasons. I'm wearing her jewelry, actually, shout out. And she's a great jewelry designer. And we came together to kind of flip the space. It was already set up as little cubicles. They were offices originally, but they seemed like they would be perfect small artist space. So we actually have one available, but I'll show you Chrysalis.
So pick over here, Craig, because over here this is a whole nother gallery space.
Yeah, this is called the Annex.
This is the Annex, and there's great artwork, and we know that they're doing some filming here. There's all kinds of creative stuff happening down here at the Asian Town Center. I mean, great,
Salsa.
yeah, dancing, salsa, great Korean food, the market, and a great creative space.
So this is the actual chrysalis that I created. So Steph and I are both jewelry designers. I'm an artist and jewelry designer, and we met in at a bead store where we both worked. So we kind of had the jewelry in our mind when we were doing this, but it became so much more. So this is our space. I have
Jewelry?
jewelry.
Is some of this your jewelry?
Yeah, this is all my jewelry, beaded jewelry, wire wrapping, and stringing a little bit. I like to use a lot of vintage materials and findings from different, geographic regions. This piece is not mine. It's by one of our artists, Emma Barker of Dangerous Articles. And
beautiful work.
It's a Ouija board, Ouija necklace. Yeah, so we have 9 artists in here right now, including myself and Steph. And this is sort of the common area, and then the spaces are here. And I have a space here and a space at negative space, because you just can't have enough space. And in this space, I'm mostly using it for oil painting. So I will.
You're gonna take us right on down there?
Yep.
So as you were saying that these are smaller cubicles, so you have 9 spaces?
Yeah, we have 10.
10.
And yes.
9 used, 1 available.
One available.
One
Yes.
available. So if you guys are looking for some creative space where you can, be energized, with a bunch of artists, and certainly be a neighbor with Cara. But before we go, I'm going to take a quick detour. It was great when you shared with me that when we were down here at the shoe show, that my son Drake was like, "You were one of my teachers over at Tri-C." So like you are spinning all kinds of plates. You're an educator, an artist. You're coordinating shows, curator, cause related. What don't you do? That's a real question. But I mean, you do a lot of stuff.
I'm even taking piano lessons. So I do it all.
You do.
Yeah, I guess that's historical. I've always done a lot of things and had trouble deciding what to do, but you kind of learn that you don't have to decide on just doing one thing as you get older, and you can do it all as long as you are able to shift gears. And I've gotten better at that part.
So before we reveal kind of your creative space here in your creative space number 1, or maybe this is creative space number 2, but talk us about, because you also teach, right, at Tri-C?
Yeah, I'm a part-time professor at Tri-C. I also teach at John Carroll, and I work as the gallery director at Tri-C's Eastern Campus, Gallery East. And yeah, I've been teaching about 20 years now. So I teach drawing and painting and taught some art history. I have a background in art history. Background is sculpture too, but don't do too much of that besides the jewelry making anymore. Yeah, so I've had a long, windy path.
Long winding road.
a lot of little nooks and
Yeah, a lot of little detours, where the beauty is on the detour, I think, often, right?
Yeah.
You get off the highway and you get on the detour, and that's where life happens. I'm going to step back and I'm going to let the community and Craig step into your space and kind of point us what we're looking at. So this is this
Yeah,
you decided you're just going to paint the wall?
this is my process. I do realism, and I also do abstraction, and my abstracts are based on light and shadow patterns. So these patterns were created from the light coming through that window. And there used to be a sticker, so there's all this glue on there. And my husband Sean was cleaning it off, and I said, "No, it's creating really cool patterns." So he left it, and I drew from the pattern. So you can see these butterflies in this piece right here. See if I can. This one's made from the shadows of the butterfly sculpture. And what I'll do is I drew it in charcoal. Here's my homage to Marcel Duchamp. It's called Dude Descending a Staircase. And it's like, I call it shadow art, light-based art, but the shadow came from this guy, and it was, around 5 in the afternoon, and I traced him multiple times, and a friend of mine said, "Dude descending a staircase." I was like, "Yep, that's what it is."
So that was just different times. So as the sun was moving, you were just drawing the shadow as the shadows were moving.
Yeah, it's kind of it's almost like I'm trying to catch it before it moves too quickly. It moves a lot more quickly than you would think. So all these pieces are based on light and shadow work. Some of them with photo references, but most of the time I work more analog, where it's actually directly created from the shadow itself or the light.
So whenever you step into a bigger creative space, are you going to cut that little drywall out of there and take that with you? Because that's work, and so is this.
Yeah. Good point. Well, I think that could be done.
Or just leave it here, and charge people, the opportunity to experience it in person.
Yeah.
This work is in what medium?
This is all oil painting in here. I hadn't done oil since college, and I've used more water-based media like watercolor. And I started doing this actually during the pandemic. I started playing around with the oil paint again and remembered how much I love painting with it. And when this little space became available, the sunlight that came in just beckoned me to do oil painting in here. So it gets everywhere. So that's kind of why it has its own space.
And it's kind of funny because Craig was kind of backing up. I just kind of gave him because I'm this oil paint, it's going to take a good long time to dry.
Yes.
Is that why you like, is oil a preferred, or do you prefer acrylics, watercolor, or?
I do like the extra time you get allowing things to dry. Days, weeks, stuff stays wet. It's, there's downsides to it as well because you have to wait. Yeah. But I like to work on more than one thing at a time. So I kind of just, while something's drying, I'll work on another painting.
When I don't know if it's the correct word, but let's say when the muse strikes, you find yourself like lost in work, and you're like, I look down and I'm working, and I look up and it's 5 hours later.
Yeah.
And you've lost track of time, and you've got.
That's the dream, I love when that happens. I usually don't have enough time for that to get there. Every painting session where I totally lose track of time. But yeah, that's when it feels really good.
Is there a ritual that helps you get in that zone? Like I think that I think I asked that of Gotti at one point. And I think he said he plays, because I was like, is it silence? Is it just the noise? Is it white noise? Do you put on? He's like, he said, I think to me that he often plays Thievery Corporation. And so maybe that kind of is a ritual that moves him to that space. Do you have, anything that besides beautiful sunlight, sometimes around sunset?
Well, yeah, music. I love music. Big Bob Dylan fan. So I often use his lyrics in some of my titles. And that's, yeah. I sometimes I'll just sit and wait. I have to sit for it's very frustrating. I want to start painting right away, but it just doesn't happen right then. So I'll just sit and wait and eventually get started and then go with it.
Yeah. As we're kind of exit creative space, Cara, creative space, number 2, let's see, because you started over there first, right, in the negative space area, and then you had the space as well.
Yeah.
I want to ask Tessa.
Sure.
Do you have any rituals that I don't know, Craig? Do you have any rituals? Do you have music or what is a commonality of your creative time?
I definitely listen to a lot of music. I love indie music. I love. Me and Cara were just talking about Faith No More. Yeah, we both love Faith No More. Yeah.
Who doesn't love Faith No More?
Yeah. I don't know. You might have saw when we were over there. I have a little Sony CD tape player. I'm a very analog person. I like CD players. I have to have a CD player in my car. I'm not into the Bluetooth. But anyway, I listen to a lot of music. I definitely have music when I paint. That's definitely one of my rituals.
Yeah. Do you have a band you could turn the rest of us onto? You're like, it's maybe off the beaten path, but it's something that you like?
Oh, sure. I love the indie music scene in Cleveland. There's so many great bands. For example, my boyfriend's band, it's called Kid Tested. They're on Spotify. If you look up Kid Tested, they're on Spotify. I have a friend named Leah Mara and the River Boys. They're another really great Cleveland band. And yeah, I have just so many. So many.
Yeah, I love
the list goes on. Yeah.
I love that you're keeping it local too.
Yeah.
So, we've got such a great creative environment space. Here in Northeast Ohio to say we don't need to leave Northeast Ohio to find great music. We got great music here as well.
We really do. We have an incredible music scene, and there's just so many venues.
Yeah, we've interviewed a lot of really great musicians, and actually, I remember when it was. I guess it was last year. We interviewed Helen Welch, who's a Grammy nominated singer, and she said it is so important to an artist that people might buy their CDs, let's say, because it's so intentional about which song comes first, the second, the third, the fourth. It's kind of like an artist, to say we've curated our gallery so that you look here and you move around. They curate those CDs so that the listener, hears it in an order and might open up the bifold or the trifold and hear the story or read the lyrics too. And that's a great way to do it. Thank you for sharing that.
For sure.
Are you ready to take us to the next space?
Yep.
All right. So
I just want to plug my my partner here, Steph, of 180 Reasons. If you like my jewelry, check her out.
and again, I know that there's we don't want to peek into people's personal space, but everybody kind of has a different vibe, a different feel. Even their workspace is kind of inspiring.
It's really good energy.
Yeah, it sure is. And it's somebody who looks like they're a graphic novelist, right?
Uh-huh.
Goodness. And you had pointed out this is a piece of yours too, right?
This one is mine. This is a collage. Started probably about 10 years ago, finished just a couple years ago. So I started the middle part during some art therapy classes I was taking, because we do a lot of things with mandalas and art therapy. And so So it's like a three-dimensional mandala with beads and feathers and little spark sequins and things. And then this is all pieces of some of my art and some calendar pieces, magazines, and I just cut them into strips. And
Craig, come here to the side because I think you can really enjoy the fact that this is not a two-dimensional piece. This is a three-dimensional piece, and there's feathers and color and
yes.
And you said it took you years, 8 years, 7 years, 8 years,
probably 10 years.
About 10 years from.
I do a lot of things that I start and finish a lot later.
Yeah. And I think many of us artists, we start working. You're like, I got to put this to the side because I'm not ready to finish it, or something called my name and I turned and I had to work on this, and I'll get back to that and finish it later.
Right.
Yeah.
Or maybe you don't have the right space. It's like you're working bigger now because you're in the bigger space. So I've always noticed how that affects the scale of your work. When people, their space really determines what they create.
Well, that's an important thing.
Yeah.
Important thing. Well, we are rounding third here because we are stepping out of your
number
2 space, and we're going to go back to number 1 space. Now, so this is a really quiet conversation. This is just a personal question between Cara and I, not anybody else. But does your husband go, should I wash these windows, or might I disrupt an art piece? So, I mean, he might get a pass on
actually,
the chores.
He's become really sensitive to that. Yeah. He's used to gaudy as well. Anything could become a piece of art in a negative space.
Now, is your husband? Is he in the creative area too?
Yeah, he's a actor, musician. He hosts the open mic at Negative Space.
Really?
Yeah, which we have the last Saturday of every month, and it's a really fun time. And you should come.
and I know that the folks that are on the Tuesday at 7.
Yeah,
community, they know there's always cool stuff going on here. These guys are shooting some film down here, right? We'll do a quick, so give us 30 seconds. You're shooting a film on what?
I'll explain. Absurd comedy.
Okay.
It's an absurd comedy. We're using the space for a club scene that's going to be, it's like an 80s type kind of club. It's like a retro meets modern kind of movie thing. Well, it's going to be like 14 minutes long, short.
Yeah.
The main character finds this club, and it's owned by a grandma. Yeah, he's a gangster. He's the grandma's bodyguard. This is his hat.
And what we're going to do is we're going to, as soon as that, you got either a trailer or that film is done, let us know. We're going to plug it because we want all artists to rise here.
Let you know. We should have a promo and stuff. It'll be should be edited by the end of April.
Yeah. Well, good luck on that.
Yeah, we used that for the club, and you'll see in a second what that area looks like.
What a great. I know that Gotti and the rest of artists here are very generous by saying, let's use this space in creative ways.
Jimmy, Tessa, Gotti.
Oh yeah, sounds good.
Big help.
We appreciate you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so, detours all
I'll turn
over.
the lights off so you get the club.
Oh yeah, the
club feel for a minute.
Oh yeah. And to have a gallery and club space and an area to tip back a cold one and network with artists is so great.
It's like home away from home.
Yeah. And thank you, Gotti.
We have some more Tessa art.
Oh yeah, Tessa. I thought there was no more artwork here. Your work is everywhere. This work has been up here for a minute, right?
Yeah. This is my Zodiac series. I sold a couple of them, so not all 12 Zodiacs are there, but
I represented there.
Yeah,
you
but
have prints of them.
I do have prints, and actually these are all paintings of some friends of mine that's their Zodiac. So I had to,
You had to find a friend for each. It's not even a month. What is a Zodiac? Are they all equal?
So it's like, for example, I did myself because
we can
I
see
painted
there.
myself for Sagittarius. I painted Amelia, Capricorn. There's 12 of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And is that Gemini there? Did I see? Is that the twins? Yeah, I see
Gemini, the yellow one.
the yellow one. Yeah, yeah. I was born in June, so
Oh, you're a summer baby. I'm jealous.
I am a summer baby. And you know what? It's kind of funny. I would imagine if we probably polled our community, you'd probably find out that
Oh,
you know
there's some
there's
connections.
some similarities. You're like, why do artists congregate around certain birth times of the year? So we're looking at.
This is all my work.
Oh, this is no,
Some
but this
originals and some prints.
this doesn't appear to be oil.
No, none of these are oil. They are mainly watercolor with some collage and some pen and ink. And there's a pastel drawing up there. There's an acrylic. So, yeah. That's a print of the original, which is right around the corner here. So,
I'm gonna let Craig walk in ahead of me. So this is the original.
yeah. So it's great to have a place to display these that, where people could see them and they're not just in my attic. So some of these are like this one's from 2007. This one's from 2022. So got a whole range of chronology here.
And your watercolor to oil has a completely different feel to me.
Yeah.
Is that medium driven, or is it that you're working faster with watercolor?
I think that's part of it. And there's a translucency with watercolor. It's the oil paint has a lot of texture and lots of layers. So what I love about watercolors, you can also draw in with the watercolor and collage.
Is this drawing? Are you drawing in here, or is this is collage?
That's some collage.
Oh my goodness! Like the
Yes.
layering and the detail are really exciting.
Thank you.
This is 2020. Is this 2022? Is this piece here?
Yep.
Expedia 2022.
Yeah. Yep.
Absolutely beautiful.
Actually, thought it was done, but then went to do one little thing to it, and then it totally transformed. So that happens sometimes. Or all this collage stuff came on after I thought it was already done. So
from the first time that you put paint on this, is that a canvas or a watercolor
paper? Paper, yep.
Paper. So the first paint went on here to the time that you lifted the brush or your pen and ink off of it from beginning to end. What was this? 5 years, 3 years, 2 years? Was
this
it
one
2 months?
Probably the watercolor part started around 2009, and then I finished in 2022.
So you had 12 years?
This one over here this one's longer. This is a 15-year work in progress. Well, now it's done. This one I started in graduate school, and there was another painting underneath that was not the light-based work. I don't even remember what it was, but then I recycled the canvas and then just kept it for years, didn't do anything to it, and then went back into it. So I do that. I guess I do that a lot with these denser works.
Yeah. That's interesting because I think there's there's folks that are just like brush down. I can't step back and do it because I'll never be done with it. But there's things that probably change over a decade where you're like, no, my style's changed and I got to go back in there.
Right.
There's no right or wrong answer. There's just it's up to the artist. But when folks are like, wow, that painting is, maybe it feels expensive. They don't realize that. Yeah, I mean, you're like, no, there's, maybe $2 per hour by the time I add up all the hours over all that time. I don't know what that's
right. No, that's a good point.
Good point, right?
Yeah. I just timed myself for one of my oil paintings, just I was curious,
Yeah.
and I got up to 40 hours on one of those, but that was, not a multi-year journey like this.
Yeah. And I think that's important to note. I mean, I am a big fan of art collecting and art investing, and I think that when you realize the amount of years that people, invest in their education, and even just the raw amount of hours and minutes that people spend on it, they're like, man, that's, it's worth, thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars, depending upon, the artist and their work.
Right, and the trick is, I'm finding getting decent photos so you can make good reproductions. That's the challenge.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We have some smalls here too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, tell us about that, because I mean, there's some people that go, I don't have a larger space in my house, but I can grab 3 or 4 of these because I've got the right space for a kitchen or
This is called the Post-it Project, and back in 2011, I was visiting Portland, Oregon, and I created this installation of Post-it notes that I traced the sunlight on that was coming through Venetian blinds. So anytime you get these kind of oblong cells, that's probably from Venetian blinds. And I just happened to have the Post-its, so it was really spontaneous. And then I, over the years, had these things, and I'm going to do something with them. Some of them worked their way into other pieces. Like here we have a few of the smaller Post-its. Yeah. And then these bigger ones, I started painting them in with gouache, which is another water-based paint, kind of like watercolor, but much more opaque, so you can't see through it. And so I started painting them in with different colors, and then it evolved into an activist piece. Actually, I decided to create a rainbow, and I called it Spectrum. And there were 100 of these originally, and I had them out in the annex, and I sold about half of them. The money, half of the money went towards the Trevor Project, which is an organization that helps support LGBTQ youth, and the suicide prevention. So it's a cause I really care about, and kind of the first time I ever did anything like that. So they are $60 a piece, and right now I'm doing quarter of it goes toward the Trevor Project.
Well, we appreciate you bringing us in and sharing your space, and Tessa, for you as well, taking us in and sharing, some of your inspirations and some of the what would we call it? It's really sharing your vulnerability to hundreds and thousands of people here on Tuesday at 7, and that's not an easy thing to do. And we appreciate you doing that. Again, we encourage you guys to share this video. If you share it, we'll know next week. And if your name is drawn, you'll get 2 pieces of artwork, one from Tessa, one from Cara. And we didn't ask.
Yeah.
Let me finish up. So where can people find your work?
Yeah, I have all these Post-its actually listed on my website, and you can also buy prints of works in different sizes. www.carolynromano.com, and that's CaralynRomano. And then my Instagram is @CLRomanoArt.
And we'll go ahead and mark those here in the comments as well, so people can just kind of press it and go right there. Is there anything I forgot to ask? Anything coming up that here in 2025?
We were pretty thorough.
Pretty thorough?
Yeah.
Is there anything I forgot to ask? Tessa?
What's your favorite food?
You know what? I enjoy adventurous eating, and so I like to experience everything. And anytime I come down here, I often will stop in the Korean. it's because our food is just great here
Yeah.
too. So I'm a big fan of Asian food and Korean food here as well.
You're in the right place.
I am, and sometimes we even stop in the market and pick up some adventurous fruits and dried something, and yeah, it's a great question.
I like pho lee downstairs. They have vegan pho, which, yeah, mostly it has meat in it, so it's nice that they have that. It's delicious.
Well, we appreciate you guys joining us. Next week, we're going to draw a winner, so we encourage you to share. And Cara, thank you. Tessa, thank you for sharing your space. And thank you guys for joining us this Tuesday at 7.
Thanks.